It is nearly impossible to overstate the seismic shift occurring in American diplomacy as the world reacts to what can only be described as a total ambush of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in the Oval Office yesterday. Today, a White House official told NBC that direct negotiations between the Trump administration and Ukraine are officially on hold. And so far, we have little information on what it would take for those conversations to resume. Right now, Zelensky is in London ahead of a summit with European leaders who have lined up to support him after the embarrassing and crude reception he received from President Trump and Vice President Vance. In what will go down as a "where were you when it happened" moment, the president and vice president of the United States berated the visiting wartime president fighting for his country's democracy and freedom, while clearly siding with Russian President Vladimir Putin, an authoritarian who launched an unprovoked invasion of Ukraine. Zelensky was originally in Washington to sign a deal that would give the United States the rights to Ukraine's rare earth minerals in exchange for unclear security guarantees. But that never happened. And you may have already seen the tense exchange, but I want to play a part that occurred shortly after Zelensky told Trump and Vance that it's Putin who is not interested in diplomacy, and pointed out how Russia's aggression could directly impact the United States.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. But right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful.
Except that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media.
You have to be thankful. You don't have the cards. The problem is, I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? Huh? This is going to be great television, I will say that.
Great television. Maybe if you're talking about a shakedown scene from The Sopranos. The exchange was so jaw-dropping that it left the Ukrainian ambassador holding her head in her hands. But on top of his mafioso act, Trump was also lying. Zelensky has been thankful and has shown gratitude to the American people countless times. You heard him say thank you a couple of times in that clip. But on December 21st, 2022, he even stood in front of a joint session of Congress and said, quote, "I came here to the United States to forward a word of thanks to the people of America, people who do so much for Ukraine." And he's continued that sentiment. Today on X, Zelensky wrote, quote, "We are grateful to the United States for all the support. I'm thankful to President Trump, Congress for their bipartisan support, and the American people." But he also made clear on Fox hours after that exchange in the Oval Office yesterday that he does not feel like he owes President Trump an apology.
So I'm not hearing from you, Mr. President, a thought that you owe the president an apology.
No, I respect President and I respect American people. And if, I don't know, if I think that we have to be very open and very honest. And I'm not sure that we did something bad.
Let me be very clear. President Zelensky doesn't owe President Trump an apology. And to have such an expectation is insane. Horrified Democrats stood up for Zelensky, saying he did nothing wrong. That includes my next guest, Congressman Gregory Meeks, who said in a statement, and I quote, "The world just watched the supposed leader of the free world throw a temper tantrum in the Oval Office, lashing out at a wartime president fighting for his nation's survival. Trump and Vance's outbursts did nothing to advance America's interests or bring Ukraine closer to a just and sustainable peace. MAGA Republicans, with the predictability of the sun setting in the West, immediately kowtowed to Trump. Even Senator Lindsey Graham, who just a little more than 2 weeks ago said he was very proud to have Zelensky as an ally. That guy started singing a different tune. Watch this.
I have never been more proud of the president. I was very proud of J.D. Vance standing up for our country. What I saw in the Oval Office was disrespectful, and I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelensky again. He either needs to resign and send somebody over that we can do business with, or he needs to change.